I found for myself that I loved being a mom and I loved being home with my kids in some ways, but I also really had all of these other parts of me that needed attention and needed growth in order for me to feel awake and alive. Welcome to the podcast with Kilee Nichols. I'm Kilee, founder and CEO of the life-changing accessories brand Nickel & Suede and the successful style blog One Little Mama. I made the unlikely transition from stay-at-home mom to founder and entrepreneur. It takes a lot of courage to make a change like that, but I love the growth and the confidence that's come from stepping out of my comfort zone. This is the podcast for people who want to be inspired to be brave, to take a chance, and to change their life. I'll be sharing stories and actionable takeaways about working with your spouse, being a working mom, starting and growing a business, confidence, motivation, and more. So get ready to get inspired and to get started with Kilee Nichols. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Kilee. You are here with Kilee Nichols, and today we are going to be talking about something that I was recently interviewed on stage about this topic, and it's kind of vague. It feels a little bit cliche. But it's about the importance of finding and following your passion. Like I said, very cliche. It feels kind of hard for me to dissect. It was a little bit hard to be interviewed about, and thankfully we kind of went over the questions ahead of time and thought about it. So I've been chewing on this topic about following your passion and your purpose. So today specifically, I've also am thinking about the importance of following your passion, finding your passion and your purpose for women. Obviously, I'm a woman, and my customers are mostly women. And so I have got this on my mind for women. So before I wanted to go into that, I kind of wanted to define really how I'm thinking about this and what I mean by passion and purpose. So when I think about passion and purpose, because it's kind of vague, because it feels kind of cliche, because it's a buzzword, for me, it means obviously the things that you love, the things that you gravitate to, but really maybe it's like the message that you love to share, the thing that you love to talk about, the way that you love to contribute to your family or to your community, a way that you like to add something to the world. So that's kind of very, like I said, broad. There's lots of different ways to look at it, but we'll kind of talk more about it. These are ways that I've found kind of define my purpose and my passion. So things that you gravitate to, things that you're good at, things that are really important to you, a cause that's important to you, that's kind of how I would define your purpose or your passion as kind of like just a little bit of a baseline. So, and then I say the importance of following your passion. And when I say that, following your passion, I don't mean following your passion and like leaving everything else behind. I don't mean, find that passion and then move to another country to go, start that organization and only do that. There are people who do that. There's awesome, amazing stories of things like that. But for me, the thing I wanted to talk about today is the importance of finding the thing that's important to you, the thing that you love, and then finding a way to magnify and share that. So not following and leaving everything else behind, but really finding it and finding your way to share it. So that is my message today. So why am I even talking about this? Okay. Well, recently I kind of pulled my Instagram audience. I said, hey, what are you interested in hearing about on the podcast? I'm still kind of finding my way and looking for topics that are going to inspire. I've got some great guests coming and definitely looking to always uplift and help people get started on their journey. And I'm sharing my journey is one of the only things I know how to do. So like I said, I was on stage the other day and someone came up after and they said, thank you so much for being authentic and being really willing to share like the real you. And I said, that's basically the only thing I have to share. Like sometimes I don't feel like the expert. I don't feel like I have tons of tools and here's your ABC to success, but I do know how to share my story and I do know how to share the real me. So that's what you're going to get here. So anyways, I asked for these questions, or I asked for topics on Instagram, and I said, what are you interested in hearing from? And I got a question, and it was kind of a hot button question. And it was something about, do you think, the feminism movement of being a working mom is, and going after, going into the workplace is good for kids? So sorry, working moms, that's like a really hot button question. There's like so many things we could talk about there. That's not the point of this podcast. But the reason that question was a little frustrating to me, or a little bit like it kind of sparked this topic, is that I don't know. Okay, first let's just start with stay-at-home moms, because that's what I thought my career path was going to be. And I've shared that before. I had a stay-at-home mom growing up. I saw that's what I knew growing up. That's what I loved. That's what I respected. That's what I held a lot of value in. I also had moms that I knew that worked, all of those things. But I thought when I got married and had kids that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and that was going to be kind of the way that our family went. But then when I became a mom, about 6 weeks in, I was feeling really kind of bored, feeling really kind of, I want more to do. I was feeling, I missed college. I missed the learning atmosphere that I was in. I missed the fast pace. I missed something growing inside of me. And I missed the spark of creativity happening inside of me. And so I loved taking care of my baby. I loved that I had a baby. I loved that I was married. But I missed having something that was growing inside of me. I missed that. And I was feeling really low and flat and just kind of like meh. And so when we had the idea for One Little Belt, which was our first little Etsy shop, we made this cute little tiny leather belt, and we put it on Easton's little belt loops, and it was just so adorable, so cute. And I said, do you think we could make more of these? And it just kind of was this first like awake feeling of, oh my gosh, like this is cool. This is so cute. I love this. I want to do this. I want to figure this out. And it was just this figure it out spark that woke up inside me again. And I've learned since then that is really core to me. Having something that's creative and having something that's learning and having something that's progressing in that way is really core to me. And that had kind of died inside me at that point in time, like having an interval between college and being pregnant and having my first baby. So that was kind of how I started following my passion again, and kind of reigniting that was we started that little company. We went to the leather shop and we found these little teeny cute buckles, and we picked out the colors of leather that went with these belts. And I had to figure out how to take pictures of these belts to put on the internet and sell on Etsy, and stage these belts with like Easton's little board books that we had gotten from his baby shower, and take pictures of them. And it was horrible quality. I mean, like I would be so embarrassed. It took like a month to sell our first belt. Like nothing I did was really great, but I was so excited about it because I was doing something that was creative, and that I found was really core to me. So that led to One Little Belt being something that I did alongside with being a stay-at-home mom. And then that led to blogging, which was something that I really didn't intend to start doing. But once I started doing it, I realized, oh my gosh, I love writing. I forgot that writing used to be something that I was good at and that I liked to do. And I forgot that I used to really like shopping at thrift stores and putting outfits together that were unique. And I used to like sewing and, like cutting holes in my jeans and changing and just being creative with clothing, with making things in my home. And so all of these things were like waking up inside me again. So my point is, I found for myself that I loved being a mom and I loved being home with my kids in some ways, but I also really had all of these other parts of me that needed attention and needed growth in order for me to feel awake and alive. And I know that as human beings, we all have all these different facets, and we tend to compartmentalize ourselves. And so I think like maybe we pick a career, whether that's stay-at-home mom is our career, or go to work as our, be a doctor, or be a videographer, or be, we choose a box, but there are so many other facets to us. And so if we stick with just, these are the two things that I am, we maybe miss out on all the other things that we also could be contributing or be excited about or be learning in. So blogging then led to Nickel and Suede. And Nickel and Suede has then led to now I'm a full-time working mom. And that wasn't like the way that I necessarily saw all of my passions and my purposes leading me to where I am today. But other things that I found that I'm really passionate about is, like I said earlier, sharing my story. And I found a lot of purpose in that. And that's kind of how my audience has grown with my blog, was having this purpose of being authentic and sharing stories and having people relate and feel like, oh my goodness, me too. Or sharing, our cleft journey with Rush. Our youngest son has a cleft lip and a cleft palate. And when we had him, it was so difficult to have gone, to know we were going to be going through that journey. But I also was really thankful we had a platform to share that journey on. And so we were able to share that. So sharing my story and helping other women has now led us to have a company where I'm able to use my creativity. I'm able to use this message of trying to empower women. And that's really how I've ended up working outside of the home, owning a company. But it was because I've followed the things that kept me feeling alive and kept me learning all along the way. Finding your purpose and your passion in life, super important. But like I said, just because you're working doesn't mean you have followed your passion or found your purpose. And I don't mean to make this huge big deal about it. It's not this big mountain or secret treasure you need to find of what's my purpose? What's my passion? And I feel like that's kind of sometimes the way that this gets talked about. I was talking to somebody the other day and she said, I've got a stack of books on my nightstand of how to find your purpose and how to find your passion. And I felt oh, that seems so overwhelming. That's so hard. But really, I think it's just, okay, so how do you find your passion? I think you already know what your passion is if you spend some time with yourself thinking about what are the things that you really care about. And I was on the phone with someone the other day brainstorming some speaking, doing a speaking engagement, and we were talking about passion, and she said, she loves fashion, and she had always kind of discounted how much she loved fashion because she felt like it was silly. And now that she's kind of embraced the fact that she loves it, she's finding a way to use it. She started a blog, but in where she lives, there isn't really much of a blogging presence. And she really has done a lot of amazing things to create a community there, to create a blog, to share her love of fashion and her love of helping women be confident and learn things. And what I was telling her is because she was discounting her love of fashion and saying, oh, that's silly, she was other people were missing out on her talents and skills and her passion and her purpose because she was discounting the things that she loved. So I think it's really as simple as maybe narrowing it down or thinking about what are the things that you find joy and what are the things that you get excited about talking to people about. I light up when I talk to people about how much of a difference it makes for somebody to step outside their comfort zone and try their first pair of nickel and suede earrings. The stories that I've heard of people who have never worn big earrings before and now they feel like they can literally take on the world because of the first pair of earrings that they put on has led to this, to this, to this, or that they went after these goals because they felt so empowered by, watching our story or watching this or that. Those things light me up. And so I know I'm on the right track and I'm so excited about my purpose and my passion to go that direction, if that makes sense. So what are the things that you love to talk to people about? What are the things that excite you? What are the things that you love to research about? Soren, if he wasn't working for me here at Nickel and Suede, He is the biggest nerd when it comes to like technical equipment for like the outdoors. He gets so passionate about tents. Like if you want to know about a tent or a sleeping bag, you want to make his day, email him and be like, Soren, what sleeping bag should I buy? Oh my gosh, please do that because his birthday is like next week. And that'd be the best birthday present ever if he could like tell people what tent to buy or what sleeping bag. But he gets so passionate about it because what it is that he loves to research down to like the very finest detail. What's the best? What are the specifics? What goes into this? Why is it well made? Why would it work in this weather condition? And his brain just loves to swirl it all around and say, I understand everything about this and I can compare it to this and this and this. And that's really like one of the things he gets so passionate about. And he'll just deep dive into sleeping bags or he'll deep dive into tents. And so I've said, you should start a blog about these things because you know how many sleeping bags we could sell if people just had as much information as you have in your head about like the best sleeping bag ever. But it's so cool because that's just really like one thing he's really excited about. And he really could help so many people pick the best sleeping bag. And it seems silly, but how many people have had a bad camping experience, right, with a sleeping bag? So I just think that there's things that we love and we find joy in, and we may say, oh my goodness, that seems so silly, or that's such a small little thing. But the things that we love and we're talented in and that we're drawn to, like those are the gifts that we have that we can make a difference in the world with. And you never know what they're going to lead to. Like I knew that I loved writing and I knew that I loved going to the thrift store and cutting things up and making things different. But I did not know that it would lead to nickel and suede. But I'm super passionate about also telling people I don't think your passion needs to lead to a nickel and suede. It doesn't need to lead to you running a company. It needs to lead to you finding something that brings you joy and that you feel like you're contributing to the community and to the world. I think that women have, this great ability to be moms. And I love being a mom, and that is something that I've poured so much of my heart and time, and I still do, into. But there is more to us than being caretakers. And that's my first priority while my little guys are little. And as they get bigger, mom is like the badge I wear number one. But I also know I'm a human being that has talents and skills and abilities that I want to keep cultivating. And if I keep cultivating those things, then I'm showing my boys that what it looks like to make the best version of yourself. And I will be happy because I'm like a flourishing human, not just someone serving the needs of someone else. And I'm also doing good in my community. I'm sharing, I'm serving. Like I can serve way better my kids, my employees, my community, if I've gained skills and talents and cultivated those things. And so I think the last thing I would say is that finding your passion, your purpose also can really attract others to that same cause. And it really can lead to building something bigger than you. And it could lead you to an organization that is already doing something that you're passionate about. I just brought a tour through our building for Days for Girls, which is an organization which helps, girls all over the world with their being on their periods and having reusable sanitary and menstrual supplies. And they sew these kits and they take them over. And they have these opportunities where people can come and they can sew and they can participate in this. And I know there's so many women in my community who have said, this is my passion, and to help with this. And it doesn't take their whole life. They didn't go become a CEO of a company, but they found a passion in joining someone else's passion. So I feel like that's another way you can look and find purpose and find meaning too, is joining someone else's passion and joining together. So the hard part with this whole topic is that there's just so many different unique situations. So I would say, and I have a hard time talking about being a working mom because I would still say, oh my gosh, the best thing I think for your babies is if you can be home with your babies when they're little, be home with your babies. I still would say that because that's what I did, and I wouldn't want to go back and change that. And I'm so glad I was able to be home with my babies when I was home with my babies. But okay, so I forgot to tell the story. My okay, I breastfed my first 4 boys, and then we had our 5th, and Rush had a cleft lip and a cleft palate. So I had to pump for 6 weeks, and it was horrible. I got like baby blues. Like I was just like exhausted, just losing my mind. And everybody on Instagram, even my stories, they were like, Kilee, I don't think you're okay. Like, I think maybe we should do something about this. So anyways, I was needing to switch to formula was kind of what we realized. And so we switched Rush to formula. And this might seem like this will make sense, I promise. We switched Rush to formula, and he loved it, and it was great. And he took a bottle, and suddenly he was eating, and he was getting enough food, and it was awesome. And I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, Mom, like, I kind of feel guilty about switching to formula because I did this, with my other kids. And she was like, well, did you know that you were formula fed? And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And she said, well, no, I worked while you were a baby. And so you had to be formula fed it just blew my mind. Okay. Because my whole growing up, what I remember is that my mom was a stay-at-home mom and she nursed all of my siblings. But what I actually experienced as a human baby is that my mom was a working mom and I was formula fed. And I think I turned out, fine. And so it just goes to show that A, you don't remember anything properly from when you were a kid, but B, like all situations are different and totally work out. So like I was really fortunate enough to have the situation that we had with our little guys. And then now we're in a situation I did not expect. But I think that's really how everybody's family situation works out. We have another employee who came on this year when she was pregnant. We really needed her. We loved her enthusiasm and excitement. And then she came back to work the day that she had her baby. She came back like the day her baby turned 6 weeks old. And I was so like, are you okay? Are you sure? And it was her second, but like, I'm so thankful that she came back to work because we really need her. But she totally put her baby like in the hands of another to take care of her baby while she's here at work every day, all day. And that, isn't something that I experienced. So anyways, my point is that like every family situation is so different, but she's following her passion and purpose by helping me with my passion and purpose right now here at Nickel & Suede. And I'm so thankful for it. And we really need her right now. And it's going to work out, and they're making it work. And for her family, it's working. And for my family, we're making it work. And I think that's just what you do. You make it work. And you just try to be your best self. And I think that it all works out in the end. And then you talk to your kids about it when they're 35 and you all laugh about it. And then it's all fine. So that's a lot. I'm really passionate about people finding their passion because I just think I have been on both sides of it. I've been in this time of life where I felt like I had nothing alive inside me and I felt dead and I felt so purposeless. And so what am I going to do? Why am I even, and I know that there's other women who feel that way, and that can happen, especially in motherhood or just being a caretaker. And I love no matter how much you love your kids, no matter how much you want to take care of other people, you still have you're still a person who needs to have your own talents and your own creative things growing inside you. So really passionate about having those talents and those skills be cultivated inside each of us, especially women, and then being able to share them with the world. So I hope that resonated. I hope that made sense. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Would love for you to leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you have found your purpose, what is it? If you're looking for it and maybe this sparked an idea for you, leave a comment and let us know. You can follow us and watch these on video on YouTube, or you can just follow along wherever you listen to podcasts. So thanks so much, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening today to With Kilee Nichols. Stay tuned next week for another episode. And if you can't wait until then, you can find me at onelittlemama.com, MOMMA, for beauty, our family, style tips, and more. And you can find my business at nickelandsuede.com with the and spelled out. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.